I will stay here and sleep and remember all of you. Welcome to Legends, a series that delves into the lore within Horizon Zero Dawn, a world with an abundance of powerful and moving history begging to be explored. Today, our focus turns to the facility that set the journey of our main protagonist in motion. This, however, is far from the only impact Eleuthia-9 left on the world of Horizon. To begin to understand where Eleuthia-9 fits in the world's history, we have to go back to humanity's closing era in the late 2060s. As the threat of the Pharaoh swarm was fully realized, Dr. Sobek and her hand-picked group of Alpha personnel set to work on the fully automated terraforming system, Project Zero Dawn. To ensure humanity would set foot on the reborn planet, Dr. Sobek selected the renowned geneticist Patrick Bashard-Klein to head Eleuthia. This subfunction of Gaia was responsible for numerous responsibilities, one of which was the construction of cradle facilities around the globe. These massive underground bunkers would house the millions of zygotes, birthing chambers, and continued educational systems to shepherd the newest wave of humans into this untamed world. Unfortunately, due to the actions of Ted Pharaoh, these dreams would never be fully realized. With his executive decision to purge Gaia's subfunction Apollo, he removed an integral pillar from Zero Dawn's infrastructure. Regardless, the systems continued to function as best possible, a process we only get a glimpse of when Aloy is able to return to the cradle that birthed her. Though Apollo was gone, Eleuthia was always designed to be the provider of early childhood development, this being the reason these first humans had the basic understanding of language both written and spoken. In this, robotic caregivers were designed and implemented to rear these children of the future. This was a process in and of itself, as we see the challenges in their creation in data point Cradle Servitor Persona. Development of the artificial persona for Cradle Servitors, Nurturer, Disciplinarian, Healer continues at a good pace. We are targeting Turing 0.4 for these constructs. This should allow low-grade empathy and limited improvisation without undermining adherence to codified behavior sets. The stimulus switching of persona, however, is proving to be a greater software challenge than anticipated. Especially concerning are the entrenched feedback loops between the Disciplinarian and Healer persona. I have also attached the reports of an incident where a servitor running the Mother persona intervened on the Disciplinarian servitor's behavior, a parent argument if you will. Amusing on first glance perhaps, but deeply concerning. I have attached a comprehensive plan for correcting these interactive protocol shortcomings in just. These servitors were designed under the assumption that their role would one day be handed off to Apollo's gamified curricula, never imagining this wouldn't be an option. With the limited artificial intelligence available, these caregivers faced the insurmountable task of educating into young adulthood, a task they were unfortunately woefully ill-equipped for. Problems started small, as children became restless, asking questions to servitors they had no answers for, and wanting to explore the vast world they had only heard of.
Another day has passed.
You mean the lights got dim? I don't want to sleep, Mother!
I know, but it is time to get some rest.
No, I'm king today. What I say goes. I want to see the real sun, not lights and pictures.
You will, in time, children.
In time, in time, in time, in time, in time, in time, in time.
As time passed, these instances would only escalate and become more frequent. As the population came into their teenage years, the awareness of their present situation only made managing the populace more difficult.
Children, let's run and jump and blow off steam.
Leave us alone, Father.
After what just happened, I can't leave you two alone. You broke community rules.
Just let us talk then. Go away.
I'm sorry, children, but I must provide supervision.
You're not even a person.
You sound frustrated. Let's run and jump and blow off steam.
The multi-servitors did all they could to continue their functions, but their own limitations only bred further resentment. In this instance, the restrictions on entering the Lyceum Learning Center, rendered useless without Apollo, would ultimately result in physical violence, and as such, physical retaliation.
Someday! That's what you always say!
We want it now.
It's big down there!
Now, Father.
Children, that area is not yet available.
Get him!
Physical aggression detected. Physical aggression is not permitted. Except yours.
Damn sentinels!
Children, may I be of assistance?
Go away, healer!
Lena, you have suffered mild bruising.
Go away!
Not only recorded in hologram form, these day-to-day experiences were illustrated on the walls of the cradle by these lost and discontented souls. Many show the shifts in persona of the multi-servitors, the first being that of the caring mother, nurturing and kind. The disciplinarian, exerting physical force to dissuade breaches in protocol, such as entering Lyceum. And in that same vein, detainment. These stints in apparent isolation perhaps started innocently enough, a timeout for children. As they grew, and with no adjustment for maturity, it may have seemed closer to a prison. But also depicted were the hopes and dreams of these individuals. They painted the world they had only heard and been shown glimpses of. Green grass, tall trees, and a warm sun. A far cry from the cold reality they had been born into. So longing to see the sun, an image can be seen of these people working together to build their way to its embrace. A possible sign of future worship and prophecy by their descendants. But that's a line of thinking for another time. Perhaps the most interesting image of all is this. After much thought and deliberation, this image may be one of the last to be painted on the walls of the cradle, as it may point to the forced exodus of the cradle's populace. A moment that was documented as follows.
I have no choice but to release you. But why? There is no food here anymore.
But there's food out there?
We don't know for sure.
Come on, let's go!
I don't know.
Mother, can we come back if we're cold?
I'm sorry, but that won't be possible. You will have to support yourselves now and take care of each other.
What will happen to you?
I will stay here and sleep and remember all of you.
What will happen to us?
You will be brave and you will learn.
With all resources exhausted, these young men and women were thrust into an unforgiving wilderness. This image shows the light fading from the servitor as forlorn faces seem to scatter from its body. Finally, in the lower corner, you can see one final sorrow-filled face, apparently standing in a doorway, never to return. In retrospect, it's rather astounding these first people were able to survive and recreate, given they had never before had to care or fend for themselves. But endure they did. Their experiences within the cradle would come to define the eventual mythologies of their descendants, the Nora and Karja tribes. Myths born to make sense of their own existence, where their purpose and past had been robbed from them centuries before their birth. Now we can only imagine the Renaissance those who had worked tirelessly before had imagined for those who would come after them. Unfortunately, for most, their history is all but lost. Mirages of the past, locked away in Eleuthia-9, the womb of the mountain. And with that, our journey comes to an end. If you'd like to see more content like this, likes and shares are always appreciated. And if you really like what we're doing at the channel, come join our community and hit that subscribe button. The topic for today's video came from one of you, our awesome subscribers. So if you have an idea for our next episode of Legends, let us know in the comments down below. And until next time, thanks for watching and keep questing.